right now. Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Vancouver. This is round number 6. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler, and we're just about underway here as we see Jeff Cunningham on the right-hand side of the screen. He's playing against Sam Pardee of Team Channel Fireball / face-to-face games there. Jeff, not currently with a team.
No bias. That's a legit 5-0.
That's a straight up 5-0. Now, I need you to fill us in a little bit because for people like me who came back to the game around 2008, 2009, Jeff was kind of trailing off at that time.
He's Jackson's brother.
So I think he probably, for most old school Magic player, is Jackson's his little brother. But for me,
sure.
that's Jackson Cunningham's older brother.
Jackson Cunningham, top-aided GP Origins. Jeff was the guy sweating him and, railbirding him the whole time. Yeah, you go back, I guess, 10, 12, 15 years. He was the equivalent of a Platinum Pro.
Okay.
I didn't really have Platinum at the time, but, I mean, he was, one of the best 20 guys on tour. And, he's got a Pro Tour top 8. He's got a Grand Prix win. He's got a handful of Grand Prix top 8s from sort of the early 2000s-ish. Madness was his deck of choice, sort of the blue-green Madness deck. The thing that really sets Jeff Cunningham apart, though, is he was the best writer in the game. His tournament reports were a thing to treasure. My honest opinion, I think he's the best writer in the history of the game.
Period.
At the end.
There has been a lot of words written about our game, and that's high praise indeed for Jeff Cunningham. Now, he started things out pretty reasonably here. Core Scythe Master into a Vampire Envoy, and it looks like he's going to rumble here, indicating that he's got something, because that Territorial Baloth is a step bigger than the Scythe Master. And it looks like Sam doesn't want to figure out what it is.
Ooh,
Tarshan
Mundus
probably
Vanguard.
the most likely thing. And there's a Mundus Vanguard. We've seen a lot of these in the feature match here already today, Randy.
Card's great.
And it's amazing. Here comes Territorial Baloth. It looks like it's going to get in there for the full 8 here. Crunch.
Jeff Cunningham finished second at an invitational one year. I believe that was Antoine Ruel's, where Antoine got to make Ranger Vios.
That's where you get to become a card.
Yeah, you get to become a card, exactly. You want to read a Jeff Cunningham work. Tournament report for that was Get Big or Die Trying.
That was the title?
That was the title.
That's a great title.
It might be the best tournament report ever written.
Yeah, I might have to Google that one a little bit
I may have
later.
spoiled the ending, but I mean, you haven't seen his face on a card, so
No,
you
that's
probably
fine.
already knew the ending.
That's fine. Sylvan Advocate's going to come down, and it's funny because normally when you play a 2-drop on turn 6, you're thinking to yourself, well, that's not really what I wanted. But that actually is kind of what you want here. We've got now a 4-5 with Vigilance, and it's going to do a great job of holding down the ground. The problem is that Sam Pardee has a really full plate here, as Mundus Vanguard is just going to sort of slowly take over this game, and within a turn or two, it's going to make Cunningham's board dwarf Pardee's, even with the big green creatures there.
Yeah, all true. The fact that he just comes out for the local GP, too. I don't know. I still remember a time when Vancouver was just one of the best places to play Magic in the world.
Ooh, here's Ailey. Looks like a premium version as well, so pretty nice there for Cunningham.
He did all right with his pulls.
He did. And he's going to even get in there. He figures, well, this actually does not get the Scythe Master big enough to get past the 4-5, so he is going to need something other than the Mundus Vanguard trigger here to get it through. So first he's going to activate and gain a life off of the Envoy. That's going to put a +1/+1 counter on each one of his creatures. And what does he have? Tar Snare? Something? All right, it's Tandem Tactics, it looks like.
Sure. Gain some life, win a combat. That's a card that I think is a lot better in Oath of the Gatewatch Limited than it was in Just BFC. I think it's better. It's better because you have more of these sort of race scenarios. I think there's more beatdown decks. You get more of these like 2-2 running into 2-3 style combats. It's also a little harder to get life gain stuff to trigger those shenanigans. But the real thing that I think puts it over the top is a Surge Enabler. It's just like you can pick a fight, win something with your 2-mana combat trick, and then follow up with a Surge card. I just think it's, a couple different reasons. Not a lot better. It's not a great card all of a sudden.
By the way, this combat is not over
yeah,
yet
yeah,
here.
sorry.
So Vines of the Recluse for Sam Pardee is going to put an additional 2 toughness here. Wait, is there more? Is it? Oh, he's just going to sacrifice it to Ailey. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. But he does get to gain a significant, I think, 4 life there in that transaction. You know, and it's not the end of the world. He did lose that fight, though. Yeah, that's true. And
he essentially got 2 for 1, right? He attacked into a 0 for 1, and it wound up as a 2 for 1.
That's right. So, boom, 8 damage. Yeah, so now a Hydra. You know, this isn't amazing here for Pardee, though. At least he's being able to put out huge, beefy creatures that can help, you know, at least try to put up a race. The problem is the longer the game goes, the better it is for Cunningham, especially if he can keep adding anything to the board at all.
Those creatures are a lot bigger than Jeff's, though.
They're a little bigger.
It's going to take a while. It's going to take multiple turns for Munda's Vanguard to even this out, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty close already, though. Like, because right now the Envoy already has 5 toughness, and it has a virtual 6 toughness, so it can block something effectively immediately.
Landfall trigger starts to get weird.
It does. The Orn Reef Hydra is the problem, because right now, like, let's just say Pardee attacks, right? Cunningham can block one thing with the Envoy, and another thing with the Vanguard. He can block whatever, you know, the Advocate or whatever, and then activate, and he's totally fine. He takes, you know, 5 damage or whatever from the Hydra, and then he just starts gobbling up creatures. But as it sits, like, a forest off the top for Pardee would be pretty big game.
Yeah.
There's a Scythe Master, and Cunningham, yeah, you know, he is...
Last turn didn't work out great for him. He
no, it didn't.
He had the combat trick to just win that fight, and Sam had the answer.
Yeah.
I think those cheap combat tricks are going to be flying around.
Ooh, it was a forest off the top, Randy.
Oh, boy.
Bang!
Trigger.
So this is going to enable a nice little attack here for Pardee. I don't think he's going to be able to get in with the Advocate here, though. Advocate just gets blocked by Vanguard too easily, and I think that Jeff is in a position where he will risk blocking with it if he's forced to. No, he's getting in. Remember, Ailey has Death Touch, so putting her in front of the Hydra is a solution to this problem. And it looks like Jeff's going to take the conservative route and put the Vampire Envoy in front of the Sylvan Advocate. So he still doesn't take any damage. He isn't risking his Vanguard in this scenario. The upside, of course, being that you get to kill the Advocate. The downside being that, you know, a combat trick or whatever makes you lose your Vanguard. And since Jeff wants to try to leverage his Vanguard going forward, he's just not going to bother risking it this turn. This does have him taking 6 plus another, well, assuming that there's a Vanguard activation, 7.
Oh, jeez.
Another 2. He would have him taking 8.
First strike.
Whoa.
All combat
That's
tricks
10?
all the time. And first strike obviously beats the Death Touch.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So first things first, Cunningham's going to activate Munda's Vanguard here. He's going to gain a life off of his Vampire Envoy.
And it does soak up an extra point of trample, but Ailey's going down without taking the Hydra with her.
And he's taking 6. He's taking 12 damage this turn.
Just 12?
That's how I'm seeing it. That's 10 minus 4, and then the 6 from the Bailoff.
Sounds like 12.
Yeah, he's down to 3. Wow, if Sam Pardee can beat Amunda's Vanguard in this scenario, I'm going to be very surprised. But he's
out of cards
getting
now.
close. And that Hydra is a major issue because of trample.
Uh-huh. What do you got, Fedge?
What did you call him?
Fedge.
Fedge?
His name backwards, F-F-E-J. That's what he went by. On IRC, that's where we all hung out back in the day. Internet relay chat.
You're going real old school here.
It's Jeff Cunningham. What do you want me to do?
I don't know. I never met the guy. I do have a funny story about him, though. I'll tell it after the game's over.
Okay.
And he found a Hagra Sharpshooter, I believe. Yeah. God, is that going to get the job done? Maybe. Remember, he gets to activate the Munda's Vanguard post blocks here to try to soak up as much damage as he can.
Still.
He may be dead anyway, because he has to put a ton of things in front of that Hydra. Not a ton of bad draws here for Pardee. Even just a land grows the Hydra and the Baloth.
Wow, did you see the undefeated feature match in Mexico City right now?
No?
Chris Pakula versus Li Shiqian.
Whoa.
Round 7 undefeated feature match.
I'm into it.
It's a big game. Sounds like Team Eureka's cleaning some house down there.
They're all there, right?
Yeah, it's like a mini Pro Tour the way I hear it.
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah.
700 and some players and a bunch of them on the way to the Pro Tour.
Everyone from Eureka except for Matei is there.
Yeah, makes sense.
What happened here?
Sam passed.
Oh, no. So Sam must have done the math and realized, hey, I actually can't kill you this turn. And this is a huge turning point in this game. Jeff Cunningham activates Munda's Vanguard, and things are not going to get better from here for Pardee. He can try to go wide.
Right.
The problem is the Hedron crawler down there, you know, that's not a real attacker. So right now it's 4-on-4 with Jeff having the advantage. You're not attacking here, are you, Jeff? I guess he's going to think about it. He does have one unknown card in hand, so it could be a thing.
Sam Pardee, part of that Channel Fireball teaming back up again with face-to-face. Sort of the one big super team that's out here in Vancouver in force.
Pass the turn back, but every turn that goes by, Jeff Cunningham gets better and better and better. All right, not a lot going on here.
I don't know how Jeff can attack, really.
He doesn't have to now. I mean, he can kind of wait for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be content with the stall.
Certainly benefits him. And remember, he is gaining an extra life every turn, just slowly bringing that go wide plan from Sam Pardee further and further out of reach, you know, because whatever the smallest thing is the one that's going to get through. And now he's already up to 4. He'll be up to 5. Sam passes here.
Yeah, and with only 4 life to play with right now, Jeff also has to worry. I mean, if anything does go wrong and one creature suddenly sneaks through, he's dead, whereas it's going to take him multiple attacks to deal 13.
Yeah, you know, one thing we do see with Munda's Vanguard. Oh, it is time.
Oh, okay.
Rumble time here for Pardee, so he's going to jam. He's got 1 unknown card in his hand.
Does?
This is similar to last turn, except for he's got 1 additional creature with that drone up there.
I think that's why he waited. He didn't attack last turn because he could play the drone and then attack the next turn. He figured, I don't know, I guess 4+1/+1 counters and a life was not as good as getting the drone added to the attack.
I mean, look, on the surface here, this looks like a disaster for Pardee. But he's got something, right? I mean, Sam's not the type of player to just, you know, throw it away here. He's got some type of idea in his head about how this is going to go. We don't know what he has in his hand.
God, Sharpshooter Man is online now too, isn't it?
It is. He's got 5 mana available for it too. We've got a good old-fashioned combat mess on our hands here too, Randy. This is. Remember, all of those creatures are bigger by 1 on Jeff Cunningham's side, in addition to everything else that's going on here. Remember, the Hydra is a 7/7 with trample, so Jeff is going to have to make sure that he lines things up in a favorable way. Okay, he's found his blocks.
Block everybody, and it's Vanguard on Hydra. So
he's jumping.
Yeah, well, no, it turns into a 7/7 when he puts a counter on everything, right?
6/6. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
It's a trade.
Yep, totally. So it would be a straight up trade. Oh God. All right, so pump this.
Right.
Natural connection would be pretty good.
Sure.
He goes to 5.
I mean, Sam he doesn't have to have anything. He could be saying, I'll trade, it's going to get worse for me if I don't attack now.
Okay.
He's forcing a trade for Vanguard, right? He's effectively he's trading his Hydra for the Vanguard.
It's going to cost him a lot, though.
But then he gets to play on without having a Vanguard constantly increasing.
That is true. That is true. As it sits, though, he would be throwing away the stalking drone, and also his Sylvan Advocate's dying in this scenario, too. And then he would be making trades for the other two. Uh-oh.
Oh, Sharpshooter can win that fight for the Vanguard, right?
Yes, he does still have that available as well to throw
geez.
around. Oh, it's another
No, it's
Brute Strength.
It's Brute Strength, so it's not first strike.
Double trample.
It's only double trample.
Yeah.
Now the Sharpshooter turns that into a trade, I guess?
I think so. That does have Sam getting Jeff down to 2 here.
Right. So he tramples over for 3 there.
Yeah.
And nothing else tramples.
That dies, those trade. So he does force that issue. But again, this can't. Again, I don't think the game was going to go well for Sam. He needed to do this, but he's clearly at a huge disadvantage here, even post-combat.
Yeah, totally the right attack. He had a trick. It just wasn't quite good enough. It was only good enough to trade. Oh,
yeah,
geez.
he's going to die in 2 turns here.
Just
crunch, you're dead. Yeah.
The +1/+1 counters were supposed to stop. That was Sam's plan.
Yes.
Get the Vanguard away. Oh, here comes Expedition Raptor 2. He's going to chump.
Chump block, rip his card for the turn, and call it a game.
Wow.
Interesting spot there, Randy. We saw him make what looks like a crappy attack, right? It's like, oh, this sucks. I'm losing all my stuff. But you know what? That's the kind of attack that really good players make, because they realize that I'm not going to win this game if I sit here and stare at you.
It didn't look crappy to me.
I mean, he lost his entire board, and he left his opponent with 7 power, right? You can't call that a great attack.
It was a good attack.
It was a great decision.
It was a necessary attack.
Yeah.
And now we're here just in time for the scooping up of the cards.
Yeah, we just popped in on Sperling and Lou. I didn't quite see who won that game.
I think that was Sperling winning game 1, but I'm not positive. So what was your Jeff Cunningham story?
So mine was through a friend of mine, Woodrow.
Mm-hmm. Grand Prix top 8 competitor?
Yeah, he top 8'd GP Oakland just a few weeks ago.
So he's not playing Atlanta, he's playing Madrid?
That's right. He'll be in Madrid. Well, this was during a team GP, and he got matched up against Jeff Cunningham. Now, Jeff's a name that I had heard floated around.
Sure.
But he wasn't somebody that I was super familiar with. I'm like, yeah, he used to play, he was a pro or whatever. But I didn't know when he got matched up. Woody came up to me after, and he's like, do you know who Jeff Cunningham is? And I, not really. I think he's a pro. He's like an old school pro or something like that. He's like, okay. He's like, I think he just got me.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm like, what do you mean he got you? And he goes, so here's the situation. I have all these creatures, and I have a lethal attack. And I'm going to my attack step, and I'm like, go to attacks, and he's like, sure. And I'm like thinking, and I'm starting to get my creatures lined up to kill him. And Jeff goes, I think you're just dead here. And
okay.
Woody's like taken aback. He's like, I'm dead here. He's like, what could you? He has 2 or 3 cards in his hand. And now he puts his hand on his head, and he's staring at the board, and he's trying to figure out, I could die here? And, he was playing with Kenji Egashira,
okay,
a mutual friend of ours, and he's like, Kenji, he said, he thinks I'm dead here. And Kenji's trying to play his match, and he's like, I don't know, maybe he has something. So Woody's like, go.
Oh.
And
declines the lethal attack?
Yes.
The Jedi mind trick from Jeff Cunningham.
Just the full-on, these are not the droids you're looking for.
Not the attacks you're looking for.
Yeah,
yes.
and so Jeff gets a draw step out of the deal, does nothing, passes a turn, and Woody's like, all right, I've had enough. He's like, I'm attacking with everything, and he finishes him off, and Jeff just had nothing.
So Woody wins anyway.
So Woody did figure it out.
But he walks away knowing in his heart of heart that Jeff got him.
And I got to tell you, by the time he made it over to me, he just looked shell-shocked.
Wow.
He's like, I don't know what just happened. Like, he couldn't believe he fell for that. Woody's been playing for years. He knows better. But he got him.
Nice.
Jeff just got him. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I think you're just dead here. Just, pure confident, no hold back in him at all. And like you said earlier, Jeff's younger brother, Jackson, made it all the way to the finals in his first Pro Tour at Pro Tour M15? Origins?
Well, it might have been M15.
M15, yeah.
It was M15. It was a year and change ago. That's right. Yeah, and Jeff was there the whole time. Jeff was railbirding him and
supporting him and helping him out. Yeah.
coaching him, I guess.
Coaching him a little, yeah. I played against Jackson.
That tournament report's pretty good, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wait, did Jeff write it?
I think Jeff wrote it. Jeff at least
he
features
ghost wrote
strongly
it
in
for
it.
his brother? Or?
No, I think it just is Jeff's. I don't remember. Even if it was Jackson's, it was Jeff's obviously a leading character. So
I've played against Jackson in a PTQ top 8 in Seattle last year. Really nice dude. Like very, very cool. Like really fun to play against.
See a lot of old school Vancouver pros around this weekend. They come out when the tour comes to town.
Yeah.
Saw Jeff Fung hanging out. A.O. Paquette is playing in this tournament. Is that a name that means anything?
Yeah, you know why I know that name? Because he plays in the PTQs up here. And when especially in the old PTQ system, I'd come up here with friends. It's not that far from Seattle where I live. And we would come up and get our PTQ on. And A.O. Paquette was just like, who is this guy? And he was just always in the top 8.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good.
He's very good. Especially like when you distill things down to like the local level. I mean, a guy like that, they just crush. And he was Pro Tour guy, right?
He's 2 Pro Tour top 8s in like 5 or 6 Pro Tours played.
What?
He only played like half a dozen Pro Tours, and he finished second in 2 of them.
That's insane.
Something crazy like that. I'm pretty sure he was the runner-up when Julian Naughton won Worlds in like 2004-ish.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so let's check in here on Matthew, a.k.a. Matt Sperling. He's on Team Ultra Pro. He's playing against Michael Liu. And it looks like he's significantly behind here on board and a little bit behind on mana as well. Mina and Den, big 4-4. Well, you can just take that one right back to your hand here, thanks to Reflector Mage there from Sperling.
Is Reflector Mage everything you hoped and dreamed it would be, Marshall?
Everything. God, I love that card. Now he's going to rumble with the Spider, representing a new number of combat tricks here. Wouldn't be shocked to see Sperling just block here. I mean, sure, trade it for a combat trick.
Right.
Michael can't replay Mina and Den anyway. There's another Brute Strength there.
I like Brute Strength.
It's been getting play, and it seems good. Yeah, I agree.
It's like Sure Strike I didn't like. This one somehow seems worse than Sure Strike and yet way better. Does that make any sense at all?
Yes. We're going to go back to our main match here
so many,
as we are underway here.
2-3s and 3-2s and 2-2s fighting. That trample damage matters. It's cheap enough that you can follow up with a post-combat surge. I think that card's going to see a lot of play. I think all these combat tricks are just going to be in a lot of decks.
Oh, no, Randy.
That's not good.
So we have 4 lands to 1 and discarding to hand size for, what'd you call him, Fedge?
Fedge.
Yeah, so this is going to be a quick one, I think. Pardee off to a nice start here.
Seed Guardian.
Yeah, Seed Guardian. He's already got 5 power on the battlefield, and he's going to make short work of Jeff Cunningham. Now, the good news for Cunningham, though, is that he did pick up that first game.
Yeah.
So that would just force a game 3. But, yeah, he's just in discard mode here. He did have to mulligan that game, so kept a 1-lander, not getting there. This one's going to be over next turn, though.
Yeah, I mean, 1-lander on the draw with a scry. Totally.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's probably got 3 2-drops in his hand or something. But, yeah, Saddleback Legak just adding to the misery here. And that's going to do it. So an unfortunate sequence there for Jeff Cunningham. But like we said, we're going to get a game 3, so it's not over yet. I'm sure Sam will take it, though. That was a lot easier.
They're trying to beat Munda's Vanguard.
Yeah, 2-4-4 and you're dead. So let's jump back over to that one we were just watching. Sperling, Wall of Resurgence.
Matt's got 5 Grand Prix top 8s at this point, including 3 second-place plaques. The team win alongside David Williams and Paul Rietzel.
That's a lot of steak knives.
Yeah. 2 Pro Tour top 8s. Sharing one of them with Jackson Cunningham.
Yeah, Matt's a fixture. I mean, he just is. He plays most of the GPs stateside, or at least in North America. And he brings his A game to every one of them. He's really impressive. Meany and Den back on the battlefield here for Michael Liu. And it looks like we've got something that I'm starting to grow accustomed to, at least in the sealed format here, Randy. We've got a stall out.
Yep.
I've seen this happen a lot. That's why I think cards like Mundus Vanguard can really dominate in this type of scenario.
Yeah, cohort's good. I mean, almost all the cohort cards are good in a stalemate.
Deathless Behemoth is the 6-drop here for Sperling. Take a damage from Commando. But, yeah, it looks like the Behemoth has a nice attack here. It can just start rumbling.
Oh, Mina and Den are allies. I missed that.
I think they're like elf allies or something.
Looks right.
Saddleback Lagak. Is this actually going to make any attacks possible, though? No. No, it's not. But it does give Michael Liu more options as far as trading for the Behemoth should Matt Sperling decide to attack with it here. It's a lot of mana there for Sperling. Now he's going to attack. It's a good attack.
What size? His creature's deathless, right?
Yeah, supposedly. We don't see a lot of Scions these days, but he can, you know, he can force the issue here and like basically trade it for Mina and Den. This is also an option. Michael can put 2 of his weaker creatures in front of it and trade 2 of those off if he'd like. Oh, it looks like he's got a combat trick here. Another brute force. All day.
Oh, boy.
And that's first strike for the
6
Commando.
Power first strike.
It's risky, right? I mean, this is where
Yes.
any number of removal spells. Is this outnumber? Oh, no. What a blowout. He's going to go ahead and ping you on the way out, but that is a straight up 2-for-1 there.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a
He
good
took the risk. I mean, he had other options. He decided, you know what? I'm going to take the risk. Worst case scenario, I lose my Commando, which I think he was okay with. The downside, of course, is that he did just get 2-for-1. But he does maintain a better board state here and still has blocks for the Behemoth next turn this way.
I think I like all the combat tricks we're seeing in these decks. I mean, a lot of this weekend is sort of the first time we've really seen Oath Limited on display, see where everybody's at.
Let's jump back over to our main match here, Randy. I want to catch the game 3
sure.
of Sam Pardee versus Jeff Cunningham. Game 2, not much of a game. That did lead us to a game 3, though, which is kind of sweet. So let's see what happens.
Are we standing shoulder to shoulder? Is that what just happened?
Looks like it, yeah.
1 counter and draw a card. I want to like it's
Is that a
shoulder to
Reaver
shoulder.
drone there? Yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
I want to like that card, but it keeps doing this. Keeps being like in the 3 spot on your curve where it's 1 counter and draw a card, which is just
Meh.
not enough impact on the board for your 3 mana spot.
I think it earns its spot still. I like it. I think it still earns its place in your deck, even though occasionally this does happen. You could do worse. You know, you drew the card back, you got a counter. It's not the end of the world.
I was hoping it would. I don't know. It's the difference between good and playable. It's definitely playable. I don't know if it's actively good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you know, air. Is that the term you guys use on the podcast?
Air's bad.
Well, I mean, it's just in your deck without accomplishing a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better than that. Didn't put the wall on creating a colorless creature so you'd stop taking damage from your drones.
That's kind of cool. Matter Reshaper there for Pardee's not going to do much.
Guardian too. Some good cards on Sam's side of the board. Hello.
Gosh. Speaking of good cards.
It's back.
Yeah, I love the card quality that we see from Pardee here, but Cunningham is now firmly in the lead. He's going to start piling up counters on
Well,
all
where's
four
the
of his
second ally?
creatures. Oh, does he not have one
There's
yet?
no second ally.
Oh, you are correct. All right, so there is one piece of the puzzle here that Jeff needs to find, but that is scary as heck for Sam Pardee.
Yeah. I mean, I see a bunch of white in his hand. The second ally is allowed to have summoning sickness.
That's
so
correct.
Once the Vanguard
Could
is
very easily
available
be
next
next
turn.
Most of Jeff's creatures are going to have that too. Beastcaller Savant is going to make a Netcaster Spider. That's a nice mana efficient turn, but
Yeah,
not
Sam
on par
is
with
just
a
like
Cunningham.
no ally, no ally, no ally.
I mean,
That's,
it's like there's so many
I
creatures.
know. It's hard to imagine Jeff not having one here.
Wow, I don't think he does.
What does he have?
I think he's
Expedition Raptor?
He's got Expedition Raptor, which is just a bird, and his other creature, is it? Yeah, that's the raptor. So that doesn't do it. Though it's not bad.
True.
Go.
Wow.
We'll get that life bar back up in just a second here. Apologies. Well, it looks like Sam's had enough of this whole sitting around thing, and he's just going to jam.
It's another situation where sitting around is not good for him in the long run.
Agree.
This window may be longer, but I mean, eventually Jeff is going to draw an ally.
So he's going to offer a trade, and then one thing's going to get blocked by the wall. And the truth of the matter is that the cards that Sam has, if they die, sure,
Right.
it's just value.
Even with no creatures in his graveyard, Seed Guardian sees his own body, right?
Mhm.
Comes out as a 1/1.
Yep.
Bird goes to the front. Yeah, Seed Guardian only gets one of those. Seems like a pretty reasonable trade for Jeff's point of view. I feel like Sam, maybe he's just pushing the action.
Like you
'Cause
said,
he
I
has to?
feel like he just feels like if he sits here, it's just not going to be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe one of those where like, yeah, this isn't great for me, but I give my opponent a chance to make a mistake. I'm not sure Jeff did.
Well, this does help, right? This at least gives Sam the ability to have Jeff brick for a few turns and start getting in some damage with that Sky Climber now that the 2/2
Sure.
flyer's out of the way. So that actually worked out for Pardee in a reasonable way. You know, he's not in a great position. He also knows he's one ally away from disaster here. But hey, you got to take what you can get.
4/4 land going to get in there. Why not, right? And the drone.
It's a big attack.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff wants to just turtle up and hope to draw an ally.
Yeah.
I think he can press an advantage here.
Oh, look at this. Vines of the Recluse here is going to be nice if it goes. He's
card
playing it on
looks
Matter
so
Shaper
good.
too, yeah.
It's
This
a
is
4/4 Matter Reshaper now, is that right?
4/4, yep. So he's
gonna
just going to
trade for the
trade,
land.
but it's for value.
Uh-huh. But wait!
It's Unnatural Endurance. It's got to be, I couldn't quite see, but that's the only card that
Yeah.
matters there. So fine, whatever. It was going to trade for the 4/4. Now it trades for the combat trick.
But the 4/4 colorless creature hangs around for the drone.
That is
and
true.
hangs around for future attacks.
That is true, though Sam gets a card out of the deal. Unfortunately for him,
Yeah,
it's one
not
he can't cast at the moment.
Not a disaster for Sam, but it would have been if Jeff doesn't have the answer. It's just great. For
It's
Sam.
really nice, yeah. But if he drew a land off of his draw step here, he could be in business. That was the Tajuru Beastmaster that he drew off of the Matter Reshaper. And having a 5/5 on this board looks really nice. Oh, he doesn't have it, though. He's going to play a drone and ship the turn back. Yeah, this one's just going to slip away because we know that Cunningham is going to find an ally. It will not take long.
Yeah.
Ding.
That card came down awfully fast.
Yeah, that was an ally.
Draw
So-
step, immediately tap mana. I bet it's an ally. It's an
Yeah.
ally. Imagine that.
And this is where the game just slips out of control for Pardee unless he can find something really miraculous here.
How many ways does green have to kill a
I mean, is he
Mundus
mono
Vanguard?
green? He's green and colorless?
Did we get deck lists? I didn't see them.
No.
I mean, he's only got forests and wastes. Think back to the last game we watched. It was certainly mostly green and
He was
wastes.
red. He had red, too.
Well, here's 6. Oran Reef Hydra's back. That was not enough to win the Vanguard in game 1, to beat the Vanguard.
Yeah, he's just, remember, he has, Sure Strike and that kind of stuff, a brute
Right.
strength.
So
but
red-green. Red, capable of killing a 3/3 that's now a 4/4 and
Yeah.
about to be a 5/5.
Boulder Salvo's already off the table here. Like, it's just slipping away from him so quickly,
Yeah. Jeff Cunningham going to get to 6-0. It's kind of what it's looking
On
like.
no buys.
On no buys, right? If he was approached a regular like he was back in the day, 3 buys in 6-0, he's undefeated overnight at 6-0. The now 5/5 threatening to be 6/6 land. And that drone getting in there.
It's actually a lethal attack. Horn Reef Hydra for Pardee is a nice one, but man, he needs to put something together because, again, Cunningham's sitting at 18 life. And as long as that Reaver drone can just attack at all, he's just going to jam it.
Yeah.
Can't block anyway.
Reaver drone getting it done here. Bears a passing resemblance to like a Carnophage. Or
Yeah, it does have that same feel.
Creatures are slightly better now than they were in Carnophage.
Kind of what I was thinking. Though this one with 3 counters on it looks pretty sweet.
It looks doing just fine, yeah.
And it looks like Sam feels like he needs to line up a massive block here to try to get rid of this 6/6 ultimately land. That will work. He's going to lose his Hydra in the exchange. And Cunningham's not even going to bother activating. It doesn't get him in any more damage, and it doesn't change the combat there. So he's just going to leave his Vanguard up for now.
They get to block.
Exactly.
Another ally.
Another ally, Scythe Master, drain you for 1 go, and this one has slipped way out of control here for Pardee.
Is he holding a bunch of good red spells?
I didn't
or
see any.
Does he just not really have a deck that can handle what Jeff's been up to? Yeah, I don't see a bunch of red flash in his hand. Can't quite make out what he's holding, but it doesn't look like, oh, there's the removal spells in his color screen.
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same way. Saddleback, sure. Can't race from here, right? It's just off the table. He also doesn't have white mana. This is not looking good for Pardee. There are layers of problems that he's facing at this point. And given his color setup, I don't think that he can get out of this.
Take 1. Reaver drone. That's his victory condition. Only 18 turns to go, plus however many Calastri healer triggers there are.
You found the line, Randy. Let's see if it works out.
Sam was right on top of it.
The
He
exciting
pointed
conclusion.
immediately.
Yeah. Jeff Cunningham's going to be 6-0 here, unless there's a miracle for Pardee. It's impressive stuff. Also,
His deck looks good.
it looks fine. Yeah, Munda's Vanguard, though. Holy smokes, we've seen that card just wreck every time.
True. Black-white seems to be the best home for a lot of these cohort shenanigans, too.
There's the Beastmaster.
Somehow all the giant green monsters are just smaller than Reaver Drone.
Yep. Yep. Playing 5/5s for chump blockers. I don't know what that was. It must have been a what's it called? 3 and a white. Story target, big creature.
Oh, sure.
Why can't I remember the name of that card right now? It feels like it came out 5 years ago.
It did. It's a repeat.
That's the only thing that makes sense here, though. You can see the graveyards are kind of off camera for us here, so a little annoying. I'm assuming that Sam doesn't have outs here at this point. Smite the Monstrous. Thank you, Labufu. Chump, block, take damage, draw a card, pick up
Extend
cards,
hand.
and that's going to do it. All right, so Jeff Cunningham does, in fact, improve to 6-0. Now, Pardee still at 5-1, a reasonable start going for him. He is going to need to finish out strong if he's going to want to top 8 this nearly 2,000 player field. We don't have the official number in
He
yet.
flashed 3 white cards, by the way.
3 white cards,
He
okay.
was holding white cards.
Yep.
I don't know that they were good enough, but that's what he was stuck with.
That's kind of tough. You know, mana issues for him. Mana issues for Cunningham in game 2. We got a really nice game 1. But that Vanguard just gets out of control. Even though it took him a few turns to find an ally, forget it.
Yep.
Once he did, it was over.
So we're checking in on John Stern now. Speaking of Canadians,
Mm-hmm. Not from this neck of the woods, but yeah.
it's not just all one. They're not just all Canadians.
Oh, no, they are. They are. I'm just
5 Grand Prix
clarifying.
top 8s for John Stern, including a pair of wins, Atlantic City and Atlanta. Part of the reunited super team, Channel Fireball and face-to-face games.
That's an Eldrazi displacer, Randy. We're ready to just call this one?
Yeah, no game. Well, he doesn't have any colorless mana yet. I'm not counting 1 Scion.
You're not going to count the Scion?
Show me a Wastes. And then, yeah, we're done.
And then we're scooping them? All right. I'm into it. Witness the End got some nice stuff there. Looks like a Baloth Null and a Crush of Tentacles. In the
by the
meantime,
way,
Stern's rumbling.
Displacers hits for 3 as well. Maw of Kozilek. Yeah, John definitely could use some colorless mana. Although 2/5 also looks just fine on this board. He's showing us 3 colors and needs his 4th.
His 4th, the colorless 4th color. That would be nice.
I think he's holding Kozilek's Channeler.
In the meantime, he has nice little attacks here with his high toughness creatures. No great blocks there for Sergey. All right, so he's got some type of trick here, I suppose.
Let's trade
Just going to trade him off. All right.
while he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Channeler is colorless mana and a 4/4 body. I guess it's only one or the other, but still.
Grand Prix players, that is time in round 6. Active player, finish your turn. Proceed to the additional 5 turns. If you have a and do not have a judge seated in your match, please raise your hand and call for one.
All right, no blocks. Channeler could pump Maw of Kozilek, but John chooses not to.
He may even just attack with the Channeler next turn,
Yeah.
though. It did open up some nice windows for him with the Maw, plus he can use that and the Displacer
Well,
in
I mean,
one
I
turn.
think he decided to leave the Channeler untapped so that he could displace stuff and effectively tap all of Sergey's blockers.
Yeah.
Like, flicker that, it comes back tapped. He has a second colorless mana. He could have flickered a second thing if he needed to. Now he's cleared a path.
This is game.
Should be. Like, even if some surprise blocker came down,
Yes.
oh, the Displacer's ready. Even if a
Boom.
removal spell tried to kill something, oh, the Displacer's ready.
And that's
Yeah,
going to do it,
there's the
yeah.
hand.
John Stern plus Eldrazi Displacer is nasty. John plays very clean Magic, and that's the kind of card that can give a good player like him a massive advantage. And even less good players a pretty big edge, too. That card's really
a good
great.
one.
All right, that's going to do it there for round 6 here from Vancouver. Hey there, welcome back to the booth here in Vancouver. Marshall Sutcliffe, and I've got Brian David Marshall with me here. BDM, you've been keeping up on what's been going on at GP Nagoya.
I have. I mean, so Grand Prix Nagoya is just starting day 2 right now.
Because they're backwards in time, but a day ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're starting day 2, but we can take a look a little bit at what happened at the end of day 1. We can take a look at our players to watch, see how they've done, and take a look at the standings. Here you see the players we have listed to watch. A couple players. We've talked about some of the teams that are going on here. One of the teams that's really interesting to me is Team Psy Games. Toria Kakamai.
It's a relatively new team, right?
It's a relatively new team, but listen to some of the players who are on this team. Kakamai, who won 2 GPs and is like locked in for gold this year, last season and this season. Yuki Ichikawa.
He's awesome.
Yep.
2 PT top 8s.
Not only the 2 PT top 8s, but here I think you will appreciate this story about Ichikawa that was in the coverage from Grand Prix Nagoya.
Chapman.
Chapman wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So Ichikawa, played Magic as a kid, stunk, right? Left somewhere around the time of Invasion or whatever. Came back around Scars of Mirrodin. And he's like, man, I'm still terrible. He's like, I'm terrible. I'm going to start streaming. And he started streaming with the express purpose of being awful.
Okay.
He's like, listen, Nico community, I'm terrible at Magic. And I need you to tell me what I should be drafting, what plays I should be making, and help me to improve.
Oh, I love this.
And that's what he's
That's
done.
great.
Over the course of 5 years, in his own words, he's gone from, scrub to superstar.
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
That's fantastic.
That's, the best possible story you could hear about that kind of like putting yourself out there.
So all the answers I've been looking for were in the Twitch chat the whole time?
Yes. And of course, Kentaro Yamamoto also on Team Psy Games. And if you read the piece that Chapman wrote, there's some hints about the immediate future of Team Psy Games that sound pretty exciting, but
Ooh.
I don't know.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. But let's take a look at a couple of 9-0 decks.
Okay.
By the way, from day 1. I want you to just see if anything stands out to you at the top of this deck here, Marshall. Makoto Horiuchi's 9-0 deck. How about
2 planeswalkers? Are you serious? Wow, that's not a bad 5 into 6 there either, is it?
No. How absurd does
Wow,
this deck
that
look
is
to you?
insane. I'm looking down the list now. I mean, there's other cards in this, but the first 2 I saw were
And
already good enough.
But I mean, and look at the sort of like ability to sort of fortify the ground, cause like Sentinel, Vile Aggregate, Maw of Kozilek. You just like get to put out this like
deck is insane. What is this?
it's a 9-0 deck in Oath and Gatewatch
That
Sealed.
looks like a 9-0 deck to me too. Wow. All right, that's business.
18 lands. I think we're seeing that is kind of the norm here with a Seer's Lantern and a Hedron Archive. So
Wow, big ramp.
yeah, and
I love the deck.
by the way, a Grip of Desolation too.
I would
to
play
go
that
with.
deck all day long. This deck is just sweet.
You'd keep that deck, right? Like you'd be done with the GP and you'd be like, I still have this.
Yeah, that could easily be in a deck box somewhere at home.
All right, let's take a look at another a little less planeswalkery sealed deck.
I'm not that interested in this one.
You're not really?
No, I like the other one better. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't even looked at it yet. You led with the big 2
I know.
Planeswalker
No,
deck.
that
like,
deck was. That
now
deck,
I have to get excited about Dampening
well,
Pulse.
you gotta
Okay,
get, you gotta get
it.
exalted about. You gotta get excited about Crush of Tentacles.
Okay.
Right. I mean, this is just an amazing card. Right. This is the kind of card that wins you a sealed deck match.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially one that you were behind in if you can get the Surge going on it.
Yeah, and Matter
Oh yeah,
Reshaper.
this deck looks very good.
Not as exciting. Cyclone Sire, by the way. I think
Love that card.
that is a super exciting card.
Very good card. Sifter of Skulls, that's a nice rare.
Yeah, and here's one of the things that I thought was interesting about this deck: only 17 lands.
Yeah, I think most people have been running 17. I don't know. The decks I've seen have, but I haven't looked at a ton of deck lists yet. I will, and then I'll know more. But yeah.